Joe Rogan wants Jon Jones and Alex Pereira at the UFC White House card in 2026. He believes a fight between Jones and Pereira would be the biggest event ever. Rogan said Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, while Pereira might be the most dangerous striker the sport has ever seen, calling their potential matchup one of a kind.
If Jon really thinks he's going to fight Alex Pereira, he's getting ready.
Yeah.
He's at least getting ready in his mind.
Would it be Alex, or do you think it would be
Alex?
Really?
Yeah,
so the Tom ship has sailed.
No, it hasn't sailed, but the big money fight is Alex and Jon Jones at the White House.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Catch weight. Make it 225 fight. You don't have to be for a title. Make it the bad motherfucker upper edition. The Jon Jones Alex Pereira fight will probably be the biggest fight in human history.
I mean, that
in
at
MMA,
the White House?
In MMA, but as a matchup, you got the greatest of all time in Jon Jones, and arguably the most destructive striker that's ever competed.
Yeah.
No one's like that guy.
Dana White admitted that the fight between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira could actually happen, revealing that Joe Rogan has been encouraging him to make it. He called Jon Jones the greatest combat athlete ever, describing him as a fierce competitor with a dark, dangerous side that makes him unlike anyone else.
Will we ever see Jon Jones versus Alex? Yeah.
Possibility. I mean, Rogan is pushing me right now to try to make that fight. It's just, guys, Jon Jones is a whole nother. I consider Jon Jones the greatest combat fighter of all time. Jon Jones is the nastiest dude ever in the history. And Jon's got a dark side to him, man. He shoots guns. Jon Jones is a killer.
On the other hand, Khamzat Chimaev is calling out Alex Pereira for a fight in either the light heavyweight or even the heavyweight division. Khamzat feels he can finish Podin. Khamzat Chimaev said, "I'm ready to fight you in the heavyweight division. You won't find a super fight than our fight. No Chama, this is smash everybody." However, Alex Pereira turned down Khamzat Chimaev's call out, saying he has no interest in that matchup. He mentioned that now he's focused on a major super fight and preparing to move up to heavyweight.
I don't know if you're aware of this yet, but middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev has called you out and said that congratulations, but now you guys need to finish your business. Are you aware of what business that is, and are you interested in him moving up to fight you at this stage?
O campeão peso médio te desafiou, Khamzat Chimaev, falou parabéns, mas vocês têm negócio a resolver. Que negócios são esses e te interessam?
Obrigado pelos parabéns, mas eu quero uma super luta, igual eu falei, quero lutar nos pesos pesados. Então, só agradeço só pelos parabéns.
Thanks for congratulating me, but all I want is a super fight. I want to fight at heavyweight, but all I can say is thank you.
Alex Pereira has his sights set on a showdown with Jon Jones at the UFC White House card, and confident about moving up to heavyweight, he aims to make history by becoming the first fighter to win UFC titles in 3 different weight classes.
Essa é a melhor aposta?
Não, queria super luta.
No, I want a super fight.
Oh, super fight at heavyweight.
I can think of one.
Wow, Derek Lewis? It's Aspinall, man.
Bom, não sei se Casa Branca, Jon Jones.
Jon Jones.
Super luta.
Oh, at the White House.
Jon Jones. That's a super fight.
All right, so he's...
Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev made it clear he wants to fight Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title. He said Pereira's power wouldn't trouble him, and that moving up in weight won't reduce his strength. Confident in his chances if he stayed calm, Khamzat added that while a title fight at 205 is his main goal, he's also open to facing opponents like Emma Vove, Renier de Ridder, or Anthony Hernandez if the UFC offers the right deal.
Если спросить меня, мне, конечно, хочется за второй пояс подраться. Для меня, никому не секрет, тот парень, который сейчас 93, если стойки с ним не заигрываться, для меня очень удобный соперник. Да, все говорят, слишком мощный парень, но где-то мощи я нигде не уступал никому, поэтому я думаю, он тоже 84 выступал и перешел в 93. Хотелось бы 93 подраться, а так там Насруддина дадут, или Ридера дадут, или Эрнандеса. Мне особой такой разницы нет, чтобы самое главное заплатили хорошо.
Dana White reacted to Alex Pereira's plans to move to heavyweight, saying that moving up 2 divisions in the UFC is a much bigger challenge than in boxing. He pointed out that there are still great fights waiting for Pereira at light heavyweight and questioned the move unless Pereira is thinking about ending his career soon.
What is your hesitation about him going up to heavyweight? He's mentioned it a few times in the past. He always wanted that Jon Jones fight, and I understand why maybe that fight wasn't appealing to you, but what is your reservations about sending him to heavyweight heavyweight at this point?
Probably that he was a middleweight. He was a middleweight, and he's going to jump up 2 weight classes in the UFC. It's not like jumping up 2 weight classes in boxing. It's a big jump.
And as far as Yuri's performance,
and it's not that I have any reservations about it. I mean, the guy is he's in a division that there's still some interesting fights. I don't know. It's just I like the guy so much. We'll see. We'll have to talk about it. I just don't see why, unless he wants to retire, why throwing him in at heavyweight makes any sense. Other than I just end up saying he wants to do it so bad, I'll just say yes. I don't know.
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen suggested that Jon Jones should face Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title. He proposed that Jones could demand the fight take place at 205 pounds so the belt would be at stake, turning the super fight into a championship matchup and creating even more buzz around it.
Let me give you the hot take of the day. If I'm in Jon Jones's shoes and I hear this and I feel this buzz and there's this huge fight and it has all of a sudden got my interest, but there's no title on the line, I can fix that real fast. I can say, I will fight you, and I'll even find a world title, because it's going to be yours. I'll see you at 205 pounds. And if Jon Jones does that, my partner, we're having a very different conversation.
Oh, chill. Oh, my God, I didn't even think about that.
Chael Sonnen also shared his thoughts on the talks surrounding a possible fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Alex Pereira. He said Pereira's size would be a serious challenge for Khamzat, who might struggle to keep control for an entire fight. Sonnen added that if they competed at their natural weights, he would lean toward Pereira winning.
Who would win? Who do you think would win, Chimaev or Pereira?
Well, geez, Pereira is so big. I do think that size matters at a certain point. Chimaev would be a problem in certain positions. But ultimately, Pereira's size, even if he went down once or he went down twice, that's a big man to drag to the canvas for 25 straight minutes. I think, I'm not putting him at the same weight, I'm putting it what they weigh right now, Pereira would beat him.
Daniel Cormier agreed with Chael Sonnen, saying that size plays a major role in matchups like Khamzat Chimaev versus Alex Pereira. He explained that moving up from middleweight to light heavyweight is a big jump, with fighters at 185 often weighing over 210 pounds after rehydration, while light heavyweights can reach 235 or more. Cormier emphasized that these weight differences can heavily affect the outcome of a fight.
That's a tough fight to choose between the two, but man, size has to matter at some point, right? It might not matter from 170 to 185, but it's gotta matter at some point. When you start jumping 20 pounds, Chael, and you mean like a 185 pound guy that may weigh 210 to a freaking 205 guy that may weigh 245, that weighs 235 on fight night, it's gotta matter at some point when it comes to size. You know, it has to matter, but I can't pick the fight, so I'm happy.
Chael Sonnen further discusses Khamzat Chimaev's call-out of Alex Pereira, pointing out that Chimaev often brings up Pereira's name, but doesn't directly ask for the light heavyweight belt. Sonnen said Chimaev's real focus is on becoming a champion, and even if Pereira moves divisions, Khamzat's ambitions to claim the 205-pound title stays the same.
So Khamzat Chimaev has made headlines. He is calling out Alex Pereira. And I'm good with the whole thing, but I want you to hear this in 2 different ways. Okay, first off, this isn't the first time that Khamzat has specifically associated himself with Alex Pereira. Khamzat has not said, I want to be the 205-pound champion. I want champ status. He has specifically gone after Pereira. However, I think that's a coincidence. I don't think he means Pereira, even though he's said that. I think he's talking about champ status. I think if Pereira goes to light heavyweight, Chimaev's idea of being champion at 205 pounds does not go away.
Rainier de Ritter said Jon Jones and Khamzat Chimaev would be tough fights for Alex Pereira. He noted that Pereira has mostly faced strikers, not elite wrestlers, and believes Jones or Chimaev could take advantage of that weakness.
I talked about like the Jon Jones thing. I was like, Jon Jones is the worst matchup for Alex Pereira. Like, that is the worst.
Yeah, 100%.
And Chimaev isn't far behind there. That wrestling it's a nightmare for a guy like Pereira.
Yeah, exactly. And we haven't really seen what Alex can do. Because he's mostly been fighting strikers. Even Ankalaev is mostly a striker. But let me get some work with Khamzat first.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I don't think like the UFC didn't like they weren't like ooh a super fight. I don't think they're actually making. But I thought it was funny. Like I give them credit too. Like you go for the biggest fight, and Alex is a big name, right?
That's true. That's definitely true.
Renier de Ridder responded to Khamzat Chimaev's call-out of Alex Pereira, saying his initial reaction was that it didn't seem serious. He still found the matchup exciting. He doubted Khamzat could take Pereira down and control him safely, but understood why Khamzat would want that fight.
Khamzat Chimaev today, he called out Alex Pereira. Did you see this? He said, I want to go up to light heavyweight. What do you make of this when there's clearly such big fights happening right now and he hasn't even defended the belt yet?
Oh, well, to be honest, first thing I thought was, well, this is bullshit, but it is a cool matchup, huh? It is a cool matchup to see Khamzat, see if he can get him down and stay safe. But I don't see it happening, but yeah, I get it.
Michael Bisping shared his thoughts on Alex Pereira wanting to face Jon Jones at the White House card. He said Pereira personally told Dana White about his plan to move to heavyweight, not for the Gane vs. Aspinall winner, but for a massive fight with Jon Jones, who is regarded as one of the sport's all-time greats.
What's next? Now, of course, he wants to go to heavyweight. Dana White said that he saw him at the Performance Institute on Friday. He told Dana face to face he wants to go to heavyweight, and you would assume that by going to heavyweight, he would mean wanting the winner of Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall, which goes down in just a couple of weeks. But that's not what he wants. He wants to take on Jon Jones at the White House, the greatest of all time, depending on who you ask, of course. We're not getting into that whole debate.
Michael Bisping said Alex Pereira has earned big opportunities after his impressive run and strong fan following. He mentioned that while Yuri Prochazka or Carlos Ulberg could be possible opponents, Pereira already defeated Yuri twice, and his striking would likely give him the edge over Ulberg. Bisping felt the most exciting choice would be a blockbuster fight with Jon Jones, possibly even at the White House event.
But that's what Pereira wants. Now, I will say this, the man should be afforded some wild opportunities. What he did, the way he came back, the way he thrills audiences, the knockouts that he's had, the career that he's had, the impact that he's made on this sport, and the fan base that will once again be behind him is immense, okay? So I say give the man some fun fights. Yes, of course, there is Carlos Ulberg out there, and there is Yuri Prochazka. Yuri, I could not be a bigger fan of that guy. I love that guy, but he's been beaten by Alex twice. I hate to say it, I don't think the outcome would be much different. Carlos Ulberg, yeah, sure. Make him fight Carlos Ulberg, probably beat Carlos Ulberg, because it'll be a kickboxing match. Ulberg's not going to shoot a double leg takedown. He's not all of a sudden going to turn into a Dagestani wrestler that he just beat, by the way, in 1 minute, 20 seconds. He would probably beat Carlos Ulberg as well. So what do you do with him? Well, you give him something fun. Okay.
Michael Bisping described Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones as a huge potential fight, but said he'd rather see Pereira face Tom Aspinall or possibly Cyril Gane, with a preference for Aspinall. He noted that winning another title would make Pereira the first ever 3-division UFC champion, securing his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in the sport's history.
Jones versus Pereira, okay, I mean, that's a huge fight. That's a big fight that a lot of people would want to see. But what would you rather see? But the fight that I would rather see is Alex Pereira going up against Tom Aspinall or Cyril Gane. More than likely, Tom Aspinall, let's be honest, he's probably going to win against Cyril. Alex Pereira has the opportunity to become a 3-weight division champion, something that no one's ever done. That's never happened. We've had many double champs. We've had several simultaneous double champs, but no one has gone through 3 different weight classes and became the champion. There will be no doubt that Alex Pereira would be the greatest undisputed fighter that ever competed in the UFC, because you can't argue with the fact that he was the champion in 3 different weight classes. And if he was to do that, that would be ridiculous.
In another video, Michael Bisping further talked about the increasing possibility of an Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones super fight, saying it could take place at the White House card. He called it one of the biggest matchups in UFC history and suggested it might even overshadow a Pereira versus Tom Aspinall fight, even though Aspinall is the current champion. Bisping added that Donald Trump's presence and the UFC's star power, it could become the most spectacular event Dana White has ever organized.
And let's just be honest, there's a very good chance that Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones does get made at the White House. That would be the biggest fight they can make in the UFC right now. Certainly one of them. Pereira versus Jon Jones, would that be bigger than Pereira versus Tom Aspinall? It probably would. And it shouldn't be, because Tom is the undisputed champion, but John Jones has been around forever. Now, we spoke about this at length many, many times. There's a good chance that that fight happens. Certainly if Donald Trump is like, let's get John Jones on, let's get Alex Pereira on, right? The fight's going to happen, okay? It's going to be the best fight card that Dana's ever put together. That's the plan. And certainly with some of the fights that they have available at their fingertips, it just might be.
Matt Brown also talked about this matchup and said John Jones versus Alex Pereira would be a tough and lopsided matchup. He argued that Jones should fight Tom Aspinall instead, since Pereira wouldn't pose much of a challenge despite the hype such a fight would generate. Brown compared it to Conor McGregor's bout with Floyd Mayweather, saying Jones' wrestling, size, and all-around ability would give him a huge edge, even after a long break from competition.
I want the competitive fight. I think hardcore fans, but that goes exactly right into what I was saying, right? Do we want entertainment? Because what Alex and John is going to do is have a ridiculous build-up, right? Like, where everybody's going to be pumped. There's going to be people betting on Alex. There's going to be people, just like Conor going and fighting Floyd, right? There's going to be people like, oh yeah, Conor's got a chance. I think Alex has a better chance than Conor did against Floyd, by the way. But you get my point, right? Like, the matchup is literally the nightmare matchup for Alex Pereira. Like John is as big, probably bigger. I think probably a little bit bigger than Alex Pereira. A heavyweight, certainly bigger. A million times better wrestler. Like, there's no possible way in hell that Alex his wrestling is to John Jones's level at this point. Even if John Jones is out doing cocaine for the last year and then just shows up.
Matt Brown feels the most meaningful fight for John Jones will be a return against Tom Aspinall. Still, he admitted the UFC might focus more on spectacle than sport, especially with the White House event coming up. Brown noted that if the goal is pure entertainment, a showdown between Jones and Alex Pereira would be the obvious choice.
John comes back, he has to fight Tom Aspinall. There's no other good fight to make. And again, but then you kind of get into the debate of, is this a sport or is it entertainment, right? Entertainment-wise, which I think we talked about a little bit about the White House card, period. Is this going to be make the biggest fights you can, or, make relevant fights? And if you're making the biggest fight you can, you go with Alex Pereira, John Jones, 100%. Especially if you're Dana and you trust that John Jones is going to make it there on time, or, not go to jail in the meantime or anything, right? And but I think it's a no-brainer in terms of like the biggest fight that you could potentially make.
Matt Brown said he'd still rather see John Jones fight Tom Aspinall, but admitted it's tough to decide what matchup would be bigger. He acknowledged that Alex Pereira's star power is huge, yet Jones' reputation alone makes any fight monumental. Brown added that a heavyweight title clash with Aspinall would be just as meaningful as a Pereira fight, even if it didn't generate the same buzz.
I still think he should fight Tom Aspinall, though. I don't know which is really a bigger fight. You got to think, like, Alex. I know he's a bigger star, but John Jones is big enough to carry, whatever fight that he comes back to, and if it's Tom Aspinall, he's fighting for the heavyweight title now, and that makes it as big of a fight as if he's fighting Alex Pereira. Just to be fighting Alex Pereira, I think.
Meanwhile, Henry Cejudo suggested a BMF matchup between John Jones and Alex Pereira, saying it could headline the White House card. He mentioned that Jones might bypass Tom Aspinall, but a fight with Pereira, especially after Pereira's recent rise, would be a massive event. Cejudo added that if both decided to retire afterward, it would go down as one of the most memorable fights in UFC history.
I think what's next for Merab is the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov and Mario Bautista. I think because of that close fight that he did have with Umar, I mean I feel like it's well deserved, especially if he gets through a guy like Mario Bautista. And that's it, bro. The winner of this fight, Merab beats the winner out of this fight of Mario and Bautista. I think he should go up to 145 pounds. And you know what? Call me crazy, Kush. But I do feel that if he does go up to 145 pounds, I think he could beat Alexander Volkanovski. I really do, man. If he's been able to do that to the majority of all of us, bro, imagine him feeling even better up a weight division He could bring some problems to Volkanovski or anybody at 145 pounds, too.
Ariel Helwani feels that if Alex Pereira were to beat John Jones and then Tom Aspinall, the greatest of all time conversation would take a major turn. He believes Pereira is on the verge of achieving something truly historic in the sport.
Right. If he fights John Jones and beats him,
yeah,
and then goes and fights Tom and beats him, you have to start talking about him being the greatest ever.
He's the GOAT if he does.
Period. There's like no discussion anymore.
No, there's no combo if he does that.
So it's right there.
Imagine?
He's got a 2-fight plan, and by the way, the money, I can't imagine what it's going to be. This guy was a few Magomed takedowns away on Saturday from like now us talking about him fighting Mingyang Zhang next. You know what I mean? And now he has set himself up for 2 fights in 2026, potentially June and December, where he's on the verge of legit history.
Carlos Ulberg showed respect for Alex Pereira, saying he'd like to see him capture a 3rd UFC title, which would be an incredible accomplishment. He admired Pereira's humble attitude and warrior mindset, saying he connects with that spirit. Ulberg added that although he's rooting for Pereira's success, he hopes to share the octagon with him in the future.
I really hope that Pereira gets his 3rd title, because that'd just be massive. He's a good dude. He doesn't trash talk or anything, and I see a lot of myself in someone like him. So he's a warrior, and I really hope that he gets that title, but I also hope that I get to fight him too.
It's a very impressive thing to hear you say, because if he does go up and fight for a 3rd belt, that means he's not fighting you anytime soon. So to hear you say that is pretty damn amazing, because obviously for your career it would be huge to beat him and to fight him. So much respect. When you say that you see yourself in him, is it just the way in which he fights, or is it his upbringing? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. The upbringing, a little bit of his persona and his spirit. So yeah, there's a lot there that I feel that I can relate to. So there's a lot of respect there that I kind of just sit back and respect from afar. I'm not gonna sit here and give him all the jollies, but
fair enough.
So, this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you have enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about this fight in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.